Hey friend, welcome to the Branding with Jade podcast. I'm Jade, also known as the Aussie Adventuress, and I left the high-flying corporate world to chase my dreams and build an online business. Now, my biggest passion is teaching you how to get paid to be yourself doing what you love. If you want my secrets on all things personal branding, marketing, entrepreneurship, and making money doing what you love, then lovely, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Branding with Jade podcast. We have a very important topic this week, and if you listened last week, you'll know that it's following on from that topic. So last week we spoke about the importance of knowing your customer, and now what I really want to do is take it a little further and teach you how to go about determining who your ideal customer is. So when it comes to determining your ideal customer, it really helps to think of them as a specific person or avatar. And this is why you'll often hear the term ICA thrown around, which means ideal customer avatar. So next time you hear that and you're not sure what it is, hopefully this rings a bell for you and you'll go, yes, it's my ideal customer. I know what that means now. So I want to really encourage you to go as far as giving her a name, dressing her, choosing her hair and eye color, and really picturing her as a person, because this will really help you when you're creating your content. Now, it doesn't mean that every customer you have is going to be a blonde with blue eyes named Alice. Yes, I was thinking of Alice in Wonderland when I came up with that. And no, we're not Hitler. So we're not just trying to attract one specific person that always has the same hair and eye color. It's not about that. But what it does is it just makes it easier for you because you're picturing a person. So when you're speaking on videos or when you are writing your posts, you're speaking as if you're speaking to that person. So it just helps you to create clearer content that actually speaks directly to that person every single time. And when you do that, you're going to attract your ideal clients over and over because you'll be speaking to them in such a powerful way that really resonates with them. Okay, now let's backtrack a little to talk about the bits about your ICA that are actually super important for you to know. So it helps to have a picture of what she looks like, but that stuff doesn't actually impact what you're going to talk about or your products or your services. So what we really want to do is we want to know this person inside and out. We want to know her likes, her dislikes, her pain points, what she struggles with, what her goals are, all of that kind of stuff. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of an exercise which is really helpful in determining who your ICA is. So it helps to break it down into a few different categories, and a really good way to do this is to get a sheet of paper and to split it into 6 sections. Now you may need a couple of sheets because you'll probably end up with lots of notes in each section, but just scribble and you can always change things after, and then you can make it pretty on your computer if you want to. But it just helps to just write the notes down and really get a good feel and a good brainstorm for who your ideal customer is. So the 6 categories that we're going to be talking about, firstly, what you want to do is you want to have a space at the top for basic details and demographics. So things like their name, their age, their gender, the location, relationship status, whether or not they have children, pets, what they do for work, how long they've been doing that, what their education level is, what their annual income is, what their interests and hobbies are, all of those kind of things that just make up who they are and what their demographics are. Because that's ground level stuff that you need to know. You need to know where they live if you've got a location-based product. You need to know what age they are if you've got a product or service that only suits a specific age range, or if you're going to have the right kind of connection with them, use the language that speaks to them. You need to understand who they are. If they're single or in a relationship, could determine their lifestyle and what their goals and what they actually want to do with their life. So all these basic things actually filter down and have much more important meanings as well. So You have these features, which are the demographics, and they're the features that start to bring them to life and help you to envision them as an actual person. So when you're picturing Alice over here with her blonde hair and blue eyes, you can now start to think, oh, she's probably about this height because she's this age. She might dress this way because she lives in this location. This is what she does with her life, etc., etc. She dresses this way because she's got this amount of money that she earns. These are the kinds of things that you can start to picture when you think about the demographics, and you're starting to really create a character in your mind that you can speak to. And then once you've got that visual character, now what you want to know is you want to know more about what goes on inside of her. So these are the next 5 sections, which is your goals, information sources, challenges, objections, and role in the purchase. So in the goals section, what you're wanting to think about is asking your questions like, what are her business goals? Where does she want to be in 30, 60, 90 days, 5 years, 10 years? What are her personal goals? What are her relationship and family goals? What is her 5-year plan? What is lacking in her current situation that she wants to work on? What are the things she can't stop thinking about? What is most important to her? Who is she doing this for? What is she passionate about? What drives her? You'll see all of these kind of questions are really helping you to understand her goals, her vision, her values, her mission, her why, her reason for being. And these are all things that come back to your message and your brand story and why you do what you do. When you share your story and it ties in with her story, that's where you get a really relatable experience. So by asking these questions, it shows you what's important to your customer so that you can create products and services that will help them achieve what they set out to do, as well as craft content that speaks directly to each of these points. If you think about every one of those points, you can create really great content that aligns with what she wants to know. Then our next section is the information sources. So in this section, you'll be asking yourself questions like, what social media sites does she use? What books or magazines does she read? What blogs and newsletters does she subscribe to? What podcasts does she listen to? What websites does she visit? What are her favorite brands? Where does she go to find out the latest news? Which successful people does she follow? What sort of events does she go out to? All of this stuff helps you to figure out if you're doing brand collaborations, where you need to be. So if there's certain podcasts she listens to or websites and blogs that she goes to, you want to try and be in front of her in those places as well. So try and seek out collaborations where she's going to keep seeing you pop up and go, oh, she's everywhere, and start to recognize you that way. So it helps with your brand awareness. It helps you to understand which social media sites you should be on because they're the ones that she's using. So you don't necessarily want to just use platforms that you like. You want to know where your ideal client is hanging out so that you can be there. Events and that kind of stuff, maybe you can become a speaker at those events, or you can be at those events so that she can see you live as well. There's so many ways to get in front of your ideal client. So when you understand what she reads, where she goes, what she does, it sounds a bit stalkerish, but you just understand this by doing your research online and by seeing who your ideal client is and by understanding who you are and how that relates back to your client. And this is the way that you get to be front of mind all the time because you're constantly in front of her. So by knowing the information sources, it tells you exactly where to place your marketing so that you have the highest possible chance of reaching your customer. And it also helps you to determine which social media platform you want to be most visible on. So that's the first 2 down. The next one we're going to look about is the challenges section. So in this section, you'll be asking yourself questions like, what is stopping this person from already reaching their goals? Do they have the right budget? Do they have the right resources? Are they working with the right people? Are they investing in the right training? What are their biggest fears? What is the best thing that could happen to them if their problem is solved? What would they be willing to pay almost anything for? When you understand your customers' pain points, you can really speak to them in a way that will make them feel like you really understand them. So knowing what's going on in their life, knowing what's really causing them pain and frustration helps you to really craft a message that speaks to them. When you speak about instances where you felt similar pain and you felt similar frustration in your life, but you were able to overcome it by doing X, Y, and Z, maybe you were stressed and you didn't have the right budget to invest, but you were so desperate to change your life that you thought, I'm just going to trust it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to change my life because I really want this so badly. And when you speak about these stories and you share these stories, she can start to see a glimmer of hope in herself as well, that, hey, this girl's got such a similar story to me and she was able to do it. Why can't I do it? I probably can. And she'll start to believe in herself a bit more. And because you're the one that's instilling that belief in her, you're going to be the one that she's going to come to when she's ready to make that next move. So this really helps you to position yourself as an expert and helps you to really connect with her on a much deeper level, because you're showing you understand her. You've been in her shoes. You know how to overcome the problems that she's currently facing, and you can help her do that. So it really cements you as the go-to person for overcoming the problems that she wants to overcome. And then the next section is also a really important one. So this is the objections. I said that really funny then. So in this section, you'll be asking yourself questions like, how might their boss, friends, or family react? What could happen to their career? How will this change their lifestyle? What could be the financial impact? These are all the things that are going to come up as objections. And so by understanding them up front and before they even come to you with them, you can overcome these in your marketing. So addressing their concerns before they even have a chance to focus on them will ensure that you have a better chance of closing them. So the biggest objections that people have are time, money, or like partner, family restrictions. So, and a lot of those objections, if you handle them right, they can be overcome. When people want something badly enough, they find the money to do that. And I am a testament to this, because there's so many things where I've been like, I don't have the money, but then if a holiday opportunity came up, I always found the money for that. Or if I had to invest in a course, I always found the money for that. So it's about priorities and about knowing what you really want. And when you want something bad enough, you'll get the money for it. And if you can speak about this kind of stuff in your own personal stories, in your social media, in your content, they're going to start to think, oh my God, she's so right. I've done this and I didn't have the money, but I managed to do it. So if I really want to do this, I'll do this as well. And same with time. Everyone has the same 24 hours. There's full-time people out there that are building businesses on the side. That's how I built my business originally. That's how so many people do it. There's working mums that build businesses. So they've got even less time, but they manage to do it. So everything is able to be overcome if you want it badly enough. And when you answer these objections through your content rather than doing it directly to them, it helps them, because they're not thinking that you're directly trying to push them into something, but you're handling the objections before they even bring it up with you. So it really helps to, again, position you as the authority and make you the go-to person, because you've been in their shoes. You understand what they're going through. And if you were able to do it, then they can do it too. That's what they're going to think. And then the final section is the role in the purchase section. And in this section, you'll be asking yourself questions like, are they the primary decision maker? Do they need to consult with anyone else? Do they feel like they have any other limitations? Are they just referring back to someone else who will decide on the purchase? So this is a big one when you've got couples like husband and wife, where they've got the joint banking accounts and the wife is scared because she doesn't want to take it out of the family's funds and things like that. So you really need to understand that process. Now, for me, I wouldn't necessarily understand that. And so that's probably not my ideal client, because I've never been in that situation where I've always just had my own funds. Even in my relationship, we still have our own separate accounts. And so my funds are my funds. We have our joint account, but the the money that I have separate, aside from our rent and bills, is mine, and I do what I want with it. And so, but not everybody has that luxury, and so I wouldn't know how to really speak to somebody that is in that situation because I've never been that way. The only time that someone's ever controlled my money was back when I was younger and before I started working at the bank and got my own bank accounts. When I used to get paid, it used to go into an account that my dad had access to. So back then I would have had to ask my dad for permission. And so there are people like that as well, that maybe they're relying on money from their parents. So understanding who controls your client's money is really important, because if they're not in control of it, then you've got other people to convince as well. So you really need to understand their decision-making process, because that's crucial to the success of your marketing and sales campaigns. So as you can see, when we talk about knowing your customer, we're not just talking about a really basic level. It's about putting the effort in to truly understand them. A lot of time when building a personal brand, you can come up with most of this information from drawing on similarities to where you've been in the past, because your ICA is usually a reflection of you at a previous point in your life. You started a business because you wanted to escape a job. You went into coaching because you had a bad experience with a coach and you didn't want people to feel that way ever again. And so when you draw on your own experiences and you speak from your past experiences compared to your present, you're going to attract your ideal client, who is someone that was probably where you were not so long ago. But if it's a bigger company, then it's a little bit different. And if it's like product based, then it's a bit different. So you've got to really think about what you're selling and what your services are and why you're doing it. Again, like coming back to why, and then knowing who your customer is helps you to close the puzzle and really speak to them in the right kind of way. Now, as your audience grows and your business evolves, it actually helps to ask your audience directly. We have so much gold at our fingertips with social media these days. There is literally so many ways to gather insights from your audience. You can interview people. You can ask them to complete questionnaires. You can use the poll features on social media to gain insights into what they do and don't like. Check your social media insights and stats to see what they do and don't respond well to. Ask questions in your Instagram stories where you can ask questions. You're going to get people's actual wording. Use your Facebook group when people request to enter a group. Have questions there so you can get their wording. When you have your ideal client's wording, you can then use that in your own content. You are literally spitting their words back out, and they're going to go, oh my God, she's speaking. They're not going to remember what they said because you're going to use it down the line in a different context, and they're going to go, oh my God, she's speaking directly to me. That's exactly how I feel. These are really great ways to connect directly with your ideal client. And even better is when you actually get a client that is an absolute dream to work with. Think about why you love working with them and then create an ICA worksheet based on them. You don't need to stop at just one ICA. As your business grows and evolves, you'll probably find that you have different services that cater to different levels, people at different levels in the journey, because you don't want to alienate people by just having these high level services. And so you may have some lower ticket offers, and then you'll keep increasing, and the ideal client for your lower ticket offers will be very different to the ideal client for your high premium services. And so as your business evolves, you might find you've got various ideal clients, and you'll probably find that all of them are people that you've worked with that you absolutely loved working with. And so this is exactly what I did with some of my dream clients, and I even use their names, because then when I picture them in my mind, I know exactly how to speak to them, because I'm picturing a real person. So it's not just a made-up character that I've made. It's not Alice in Wonderland. It's a real person that I've worked with and that I know very well. And so when I picture them and I speak to them, then I'm speaking to 100 other people that are just like them as well. And that's how you attract more people like them. So we are literally in a world where information is everywhere. So learn how to utilize the gold that is right there at your fingertips, because this is crucial to your marketing strategy. Your customer is everything. So take the time to understand them, do the research, do the work, get to know them. And the more you get to know them, the easier it is to connect with them. And so, like I said, you may find that you end up with a few different versions of your ICA, and that's okay. So for example, I have an ICA that has never worked online before. I have one that has for a little while but is struggling. And then I have one that has worked online for some time and is now seeking help in other areas of her life. So here's what I mean. ICA number 1. This is a 30 to 35-year-old female. She works in the corporate world and is dissatisfied with working long hours and not being able to live on her terms. She wants to travel and have more freedom but doesn't know how. Basically, she's me 3 years ago when I was working the corporate job. I didn't have time. I was sick of asking permission. I had a spontaneous boyfriend who wanted to book holidays at the drop of a hat, and I could never go. And so I was becoming miserable in my job. I wanted freedom. I was searching for a way out, but I didn't want to let go of my luxurious lifestyle. I had such a comfortable lifestyle. I was earning good money. And so I needed to make sure that I was able to sustain my lifestyle and earn an income while doing it. So that is one of my ideal clients, and her name is Michelle. And basically the offer I have for her is I teach her how to build her own online business. So I can teach her how to join a network marketing business, how to start an affiliate business, how to start a blog. So when she comes to me and I talk to her, I determine what her pain points are, I determine what her struggles are, and I give her the solution, which is start an online business and let me show you how to do it. Then another customer of mine is a 30 to 35-year-old female who has an online business but is struggling to get it to work. She knows what she wants but is struggling to get it off the ground. She hasn't found the right strategy. So she's basically me about a year to 2 ago when I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew I still wanted to have an online business, but I was just struggling to make it work because my affiliate business had stopped and I didn't really know what to do. And so I was searching for answers, and that's when I ended up deciding to create a course. And my course teaches people about personal branding. And personal branding is a really crucial element of succeeding in business. So this customer, that is what my aim is when I'm speaking to them. I know that my course will help them. I know it will help them transform their business and have the success they desire. And so when I speak to that client, it's a bit of a different language. It's a different story, a different message, and a different end goal. So see how I mean? When you know your ICA, you have the right products and services to tailor to them and their needs. And then my final customer is a 30 to 35-year-old burnt out entrepreneur. She's tired of letting her health and well-being go and has realized that this is actually holding her back in her business. She wants a way to incorporate a more healthy lifestyle without taking too much time out from continuing to work towards her business goals. Basically, she's me a few months ago, and I've named her Sarah. So this customer is when I would talk to her about the health and wellness products that I'm now using that have changed my life. They've given me energy back. They've helped me feel confident again. They've helped me lose a bit of that extra weight that I was unhappy about putting on, which was making me not want to show up in my business. And so I can help her by sharing my story, sharing my journey. And again, it's a different message with a different product attached. So when you have different products and services, you can tailor that to the needs of your audience. But not all of your products are going to suit all of your clients. So this is why it's important to know specifically who you're speaking to whenever you've got something that you're talking about. It would be a different ICA for your products. Now, these are very brief overviews of my clients. I haven't gone into every single detail because we'd be here all day, but I hope it gives you an idea of how the process works and how you can use this to speak to them. And as I was just saying, each of these people is at a very different stage of their journey. So the way I speak to them is quite different, but it all ties in with my overall messaging of living a healthy, happy lifestyle where you are free and in control. You have the freedom to do what you want. You can travel, you can create a business on your terms, you can follow your passions, all of that kind of stuff. But they're at different stages of their businesses where I will help them with different products. So my overall messaging doesn't change. It's still clear and aligned with my vision and values, but my little stories here and there and my little themes that I talk about in my content will speak to different ones of my clients. So not every post needs to speak to every person. You need to have a specific, clear person in mind when you're doing something. Now, when you're starting out, it might get confusing to think of too many people. So I would recommend thinking of one specific ICA. You've probably only got a few products or services when you start out as well, because you won't have the experience of going and expanding to higher ticket products or taking on other streams of income and that kind of stuff. So you probably will keep it simple and basic when you're starting out. And then as your business evolves and as your product suite grows and as your services grow, you will have different clients. As you work with clients and you start to learn who you like with and who you don't like working with, you can start to really dig deeper into who your ICA is. And so you can introduce more of them into the picture. And so that's it. I really do hope you found this episode useful, and I've even created a worksheet you can use to help you work through the process. So you can access it at jadescarfone.com/ICA, and you'll also be able to find a link to it in the show notes. So thank you for tuning in, and I will speak to you next week. Bye for now.